mine have been the age where it's like, okay, go show
Just does like a board reduction to the elementary schools.
What's the sprinkler?
It's called something rotten. It's very fun.
You were off today, right? You got a holiday
I
today.
did.
Yes, that's good.
Competition with Shakespeare. So he steals the rock.
Good evening. Tonight is Monday, February 19th, 2024, and we call this regular council meeting to order. With the invocation, please stand, and we'll have council members.
Thank you. As we gather, we are grateful for, appreciate, and use each day that comes before us. For each day's duties and each day's difficulties, we are challenged to give our best always in service to one another and to our community.
Would all remain standing for the presentation of colors and for the deliverance of the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We may be seated. Clerk Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Bowers,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
McGregor,
Here.
Padova,
Here.
Renner,
Here.
Schnetzer,
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda is under hearing of, excuse me, I apologize. Any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight? All right, thank you. Our first item on the agenda tonight is under hearing of visitors. We will be having a special presentation of police awards and recognitions. Chief Spence?
Thank you. Apologize for standing in front of you. Thank you to members of council, our city attorney's office, Mayor Jadwin, for honoring 3 members of the Division of Police tonight. This ceremony is special. As never in our recorded history have we issued a Medal of Honor. It's never been awarded. Tonight we're going to award 3. And while we're here to honor Sergeant Kyle Parrish, Sergeant Justin Chesby, and Officer Kaylee Pertz for their heroism on November 14th, 2023, we're here to remember. We're here to remember that wounds of that tragic day will never heal. Not in hearts and not in minds. It's important for us to acknowledge that Kyle and Justin Kaylee are here as a reflection on the agency and a reflection on themselves. As they've all said, they were just doing their job that day. It's also a time to grieve for loss of life. And we're here to remember the courage and faith in face of sudden and unthinkable tragedy prevailed. We're here to remember that the division's core values of professionalism, integrity, respect, and commitment were exemplified by many. Commitment to a community, no matter where that community is found. Commitment to training to react with skill and precision when seconds matter. Commitment to the policing profession and embodying the guardians that we all strive to be. And commitment to defending and preserving life, the highest calling and the most solemn responsibility we have as police officers. And with that, I'd like to invite the mayor, Director of Public Safety, Becker, down as we present these awards. Council President, will you come down as well, please? Thank you.
The first Medal of Honor we presented to Sergeant Kyle Parrish. This is to certify that the Chief of Police for the City of Gahanna, duly being authorized, hereby has awarded the Medal of Honor to Sergeant Kyle Parrish for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity I can't speak today, in action at risk of life and beyond the call of duty on November 14th, 2023.
The second Medal of Honor is issued to Sergeant Justin Chesby for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at risk of life and beyond the call of duty on November 14th, 2023.
And we are honored to present the third Medal of Honor to Officer Kayla Pertz for conspicuous gallantry, intrepidity, in action at risk of life and beyond the call of duty on November 14th, 2023.
I believe our newest state representative, Borough Pickle-Antonio, has a presentation on behalf of her office and the House of Representatives. So if you would, please come on up.
On behalf of the Ohio House of Representatives and also on behalf of myself, both as a state representative and as a mom, I just want to thank the three of you for the service every day. And that day, on that day in particular, there was a bus of students that were headed to the Ohio School Boards Association annual convention. They were actually coming to perform because one of their school board members was being inducted as the newest Ohio School Boards Association president. So it was a bus full of students and families who were there, headed to Columbus to come celebrate. I had the honor of actually going out to Tusky Valley maybe about a month ago for a special dedication ceremony as they opened their new auditorium. And the title of the day was Stepping Forward. So in Tusky Valley, they are very much focused on stepping forward, moving forward, but incredibly grateful for, as I said, the service that you showed on that day and the service that you show every single day. So I've got commendations for Officer Kaylee Pertz, Officer Sergeant Kyle Parrish, Sergeant Kyle Parrish, and then Sergeant Justin Sheesby. Each of the commendation says, this is a commendation for being awarded the Medal of Honor by the Gahanna Division of Police. Thank you for giving willingly of your time, energy, and abilities far beyond what was required or expected. You are deserving of high praise. You have each chosen a vocation in which you have been asked to risk your own safety to ensure the well-being of your fellow citizens. The enthusiasm and devotion to duty that you have shown has earned the respect and gratitude of your peers and our community, and as I said, of myself, both as a representative and as a mom. So I join the Gahanna Division of Police in commending you on being awarded the Medal of Honor, and I extend health, happiness, and prosperity in the years to come. Thank you.
If you would, we'll come back up for one picture. Okay. Also this evening, Congresswoman Beatty sends her regards and has issued congressional proclamations for Officer Pertz, Sergeant Chesby, and Sergeant Parrish. In part, the proclamations read, "On behalf of the citizens of the 3rd Congressional District of Ohio, Congresswoman Beatty wishes to recognize the heroism and fearlessness of Sergeant Chesby, Sergeant Parrish, and Officer Pertz in their responses to the November 14th, 2023 crash. Today, let us take pride in your valor, your courageousness, and how you selflessly risked your own safety and lives to save others. These 3 officers have set an important example for us all, and we will look forward to their continued service to the Gahanna community." Also, on behalf of my council colleagues tonight, we will be issuing a resolution to thank you for fulfilling the mission of the Division of Police and executing the highest act of service one can give to another in the safeguarding of the lives of others. And we recognize that you are deserving of high honor and robust support from the City of Gahanna for your heroic actions. This council will hereby pass a resolution this evening honoring the Gahanna Division of Police. Again, Sergeant Shesby, Sergeant Parrish, and Officer Pertz for your extraordinary service and valor in the line of duty. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor, I understand you have a proclamation for the 3 officers, so thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. This is a special evening in the city of Gahanna. Tonight, we are witness to something that rarely happens. As Chief has said, it has never happened in our city, the awarding of a Medal of Honor. And we're have issued it to not 1, but to 3 of Gahanna's finest. As Chief has said, this award is given to an officer who has displayed an act of extreme courage while consciously facing imminent peril. There is no question that the 3 officers here tonight, Officer Kaylee Pertz, Sergeant Kyle Parrish, Sergeant Justin Shesby, demonstrated extraordinary valor above and beyond the call of duty in November of last year. They would humbly tell you that they were simply doing their jobs. I would tell you, for them, it's not a job, it's a mindset. The extraordinary conduct of the officers in going above and beyond the call of duty to save others despite great peril to themselves is reflective of the training received by the Gahanna Division of Police, exemplifies the core values of professionalism, commitment, integrity, and respect that are embraced by every member of the division, and it is representative of the high quality of service, care, and compassion that the division members display to and deserve and deliver to our community every single day. With that, it is my honor and my distinct privilege to present, on behalf of the City of Gahanna, a proclamation to Sergeant Justin Shesby, Sergeant Kyle Parrish, and Officer Kaylee Pertz, expressing our utmost appreciation, gratitude, and respect for their acts of heroism and life-saving actions, and for their exemplary representation of the City of Gahanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, City Attorney's Office, and for the 3 officers here tonight, but also everyone of the division that showed up tonight. Thank you very much. This is honoring your peers. You stepped forward and came out tonight, and I appreciate you all being here, as well as members of the public. So thank you. With that, I think we're concluded. Thank you for coming this evening and also muddling through our first ever Medal of Honor ceremony. So thank you. Yeah.
Do you want us to all come down or just stay back here? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, in the back.
Bear with us for a moment.
Let's take it, the 3 of you guys. You two both go a little this way.
I got it.
Three, two, one. Three, two.
All right. All right, we'll give just a minute for the room, and then we'll resume our regular, the rest of our agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Spence. Thank you, Mayor Jadwin, for the honor of being able to participate in this on our council meeting, so thank you. Moving on to the next item under hearing of visitors. We have 2 speaker slips this evening. We'll start with Kathy McCorkle. If you would please come to the podium, state your name and address, and as you know, you have 3 minutes for your remarks.
Kathy McCorkle, 677 Piccadilly Court. Good evening. I'm voicing my objection to a liaison appointment by City Council. There's no way Democrat City Council member Jamil Jones, founder of the group Pint-Sized Protesters, whose purpose is to organize and educate children to protest and demonstrate, should be council's liaison to the Gahanna Jefferson Board of Education. Our precious children are already under assault from the policies of the leftist Democrat school board members, school staff, and personnel of the same socialist persuasion. While I'm sure Jamil Jones is a very nice person, she must be removed from this position that gives her access to educators who may who have influence over our school children. We know the death, destruction, and chaos that America is already experiencing from the leftist protesters across this nation. We don't need or want a city council person as a liaison to the Gahanna Jefferson Board of Education who wants to actively teach our young people to do the same. Remove Democrat Jamil Jones as City Council's liaison to the Gahanna Jefferson Board of Education and appoint another council member to that position. Thank you.
The next speaker slip I have tonight is from Sharon Montgomery. Ms. Montgomery, if you would please approach the podium, state your name and address, and as you know, also, you have 3 minutes for tonight's comments.
Sharon Montgomery, 572 Bonington Way in Gahanna. Ohio laws restricting the choice to drive using an e-device started at the local level. One city, Brooklyn, Ohio, decided in 1999 that if the state would not meet its responsibilities, then Brooklyn would have to take matters into their own hands. You now have the same opportunity. Since 2005, the state has failed to pass 9 bills to provide stronger penalties when sober drivers cause serious injury or death. Arguing that those drivers didn't mean to cause harm, and ignoring the fact that drunk drivers also don't mean to cause harm, we punish them severely. Legislators ignored overwhelming public support for those bills and let them die. Again, it appears cities will have to take the lead. The interpretation of home rule seems to vary a lot these days, depending on who's doing the interpretation and what's in it for the interpreter. However, the current state distracted driving law, for all its shortcomings, does specifically allow local jurisdictions to have stronger penalties. Your discussion last week on the proposed penalties brought up an excellent point. There's been a lot of publicity about the new state law and its penalties, so if our penalties will be different, the public will need to know what they are. As Mrs. McGregor pointed out, they can't serve as a deterrent if no one knows about them. I know there's discussion about effective ways to let the public know. I've offered the Public Information Manager a suggestion, a press conference on April 1st at the start of National Distracted Driving Awareness Month. As I said last week, there are 4 strong reasons to put these penalties into our traffic code: justice, consistency, precedent, and safety. A benefit beyond justice and safety will hopefully be that, like Brooklyn, you'll start a trend. The bottom line is, it shouldn't matter what the name of the violated law is. When drivers break a traffic law and cause serious harm, they must be held appropriately accountable, and the victim must be supported. Whatever you decide when you vote March 4th, you are to be commended for taking time to learn about the problems caused by weak penalties for drivers who choose to use their e-devices and end up causing serious injury or death. I'm really proud of my city for doing this. Thank you. And may I add, I'm really proud of my city for what just happened just now, too. That's amazing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have no other speaker slips tonight. Thank you. Section D, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
So moved, Madam President.
A first by Mr. Schnetzer, a second by Mr. Renner. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Section E, motions. We have one item on this section. It's item 2024-0024. This is a liquor control notice to legislative authority for an application for a new liquor permit for Eagle Academy of Columbus DBA Campus & Co., located at 460 Havens Corner Road. Just a few moments of some process and background. Included in the item on the agenda is the letter received by Council Office on January 29th, 2024, notifying the local legislative authority that it has the opportunity to notify the Division of Liquor Control that it has an objection to the issuance of the permit and to request a hearing before a hearing officer with the objector and the applicant attending the hearing. A report from that hearing is then submitted to the Superintendent of Liquor Control, who then makes a decision whether to overrule or sustain the objection. The applicant or legislative authority may then appeal the decision to the Ohio Liquor Control Commission. This information is found on the Division of Liquor Control's website. Tonight, is there a first on a motion to object and request a hearing on permit number 2393331, instructing Clerk Van Meter to complete and return the notice enclosed with the notice to legislative authority received on January 29th, 2024?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move to object.
You move
First.
first? Okay.
To object.
A first by Mr. Renner. Is there a second?
Second, Madam President.
A second by Mr. Weaver. Is there any discussion tonight? Yes.
So I guess just a matter of clarification. I think our process surrounding these changed some number of years ago to where essentially if we did nothing, they would automatically go through. So it sounds like, based on what I'm hearing, that a vote of yes would be to object to the granting of a liquor permit. A vote of no would essentially be expressing no objection. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion tonight?
Madam President.
Yes, Mr. Weaver.
Thank you. Just briefly, we had a healthy discussion on this item at committee last week. Given the sufficient concerns that were raised last week regarding possible enforcement and the location, I believe that those warrant the greater examination that a hearing affords, and look forward to that process playing out. And therefore, I'll be supporting the objection.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Renner.
I apologize, even though I did first, I was a little bit distracted on my own accordance. But I fully agree with my colleague, Mr. Weaver. I think there are some unusual circumstances surrounding this, and that I believe fully that it does need a public hearing and to vet all of these issues out. Thank you.
Mr. Renner. All right. As for my comments tonight, I'd like to first thank Mr. Gooden for coming to committee last week to discuss this matter with us. It is critically important to note that this action does not, in my mind, indicate any moral, law-abiding, or ethical shortcomings on the part of Mr. Gooden, Eagle Academy Campus & Co., or any of the other families associated. Rather, it has become apparent that Gahanna has had a good and long-standing relationship with many of the associated families. As indicated by my colleagues, however, I am concerned about the inability of our secular protocols to adequately ensure compliance with a permit, which is a neutral, generally applicable regulatory law, if one is issued by the Division of Liquor Control. The proximity to the school, the saturation of liquor permitted establishments already in the vicinity, and the highly exclusive nature of the business, including the insularity of staff, training managers, and customers, all give rise to both the need for enforcement and the difficulty in doing so. Given the uniqueness of the situation, I feel it is appropriate to have the Division of Liquor Control analyze all relevant facts at a hearing and issue a decision. Thank you again to Mr. Gooden, members of the audience who are here as interested parties. I do appreciate your ongoing partnership and understanding. Yes.
If you're finished, I'm just going to add a comment.
Yes, Mr. Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. So again, just going back to, our process and things of that nature, I guess I've been on council for over a decade now, and I can only recall one instance where council objected to the authorization of a liquor permit, and that was in a kind of a slam dunk situation where we literally had people being shot in the parking lot. PD was in support of the revocation of that liquor permit. This does not fall within that category, and I'll say that there are other clubs, while this might be somewhat unusual in their nature of business, in the sense that it's not a traditional bar or a traditional restaurant, et cetera. There are other clubs, namely the Moose Lodge, the VFW Hall, that also operates in close proximity to our pools and various other youth sports fields. And it just strikes me that if we were to object to this, that it would be somewhat disparate treatment vis-a-vis some of those other establishments. So that is my rationale for essentially not objecting at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. If no further discussion, we'll have the clerk call the roll.
Renner,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Schnetzer,
No.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
All right. The motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is ordinances for introduction and first reading. Mr. Clerk, would you please indicate and read ordinance 69-2023?
Ordinance 0069-2023, an ordinance to adopt amendments to traffic code sections of the codified ordinances of the City of Gahanna, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Next section on the agenda is Section G, ordinances for second reading and adoption. We have two items on this section tonight. The first being ordinance 0005-2024, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $68 million in one or more series for the purpose of paying the costs of acquiring, constructing, renovating, and improving municipal facilities, including constructing, renovating, and improving additional public safety facilities for police department operations, furnishing and equipping the same, improving the sites thereof, acquiring land and interests in land in connection therewith, water, sanitary, sewer, and stormwater improvements and other improvements, relocation or additions to utility infrastructure, together with all necessary and related appurtenances thereto, and declaring an emergency. Is there a first to adopt ordinance 0005-2024 and declaring an emergency?
So moved.
A first by Mr. Schnetzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Renner. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. Just very briefly, I wanted to express my gratitude and thanks to Director Brewery and the administration, as well as our outside consultants. We've had a lot of healthy discussion on this project and on the issuance of the bonds, ensuring that we are moving forward with the best possible financial footing for the city as we continue to move the project forward. So that said, I look forward to supporting the ordinance and to next steps for the project as well.
Any other discussion on this item? I know we've had a lot of discussion in committee on this item so far, so no surprise that there's not a lot of conversation tonight. Yes, Mrs. McGregor.
I think it's always worth saying that when this project started, we were looking for land and to rebuild a police station that was going to be more expensive than the renovation of this building. And so this building will house the police station, the senior center, and all the administrative functions of the city. So while $68 million is a huge amount, it's really much less than it could have been if we had to build 3 new buildings. And so I appreciate all the work that's gone in and the fact that we're reusing a building that's already in existence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. All right, any other discussion? Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes. Ordinance 0006-2024, an ordinance authorizing supplemental appropriations, capital improvement fund, and general fund for 825 Tech Center Drive project. Is there a first to adopt ordinance 0006-2024?
So moved, Madam President.
First by Mr. Schnetzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Renner. Any discussion on this item? Okay. If I recall correctly, and Director Schultz is here, this is to utilize essentially cash on hand for, and I blanked on the word, but possible overages that we may not end up spending, and so thus not using bond money to use that to pay for those things. I didn't say that very eloquently at all.
I think the word you were looking for was contingencies and allowances, yes.
Contingencies and
But
allowances.
that is what the 10 million is, that appropriation that's in that ordinance is to go towards, yes.
Thank you. Okay. I'll just note that I very much appreciate the thoughtfulness with which this was structured. I think it's a fiscally responsible and a sophisticated way of utilizing the bond dollars. So thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any other discussion? All right, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Schnetzer,
Yes.
Renner,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes?
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance passes. Section H on the agenda, correspondence and actions. Mr. Clerk, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just to note for the record that I will move forward with posting public notice for the hearing on the new community authority. That hearing will, as council had acted on tonight, be March 18th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Anything from my council colleagues? All right. Moving right along, I, representative reports. First, we have a Community Improvement Corporation report from either Mr. Renner or Mr. Weaver, or both, if you want to tag team. Mr. Renner.
I think Mr. Weaver gave a very good report last time. We haven't met since. We do have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the committee rooms.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Anything further? All right. Mr. Weaver for a Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission report.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'd like to say the State of the Region will be held on March 15th from 11 to 1 o'clock at the Hilton Columbus downtown. Seats are dwindling, so do let Clerk Van Meter know if you would like to attend. I did attend my first commission meeting on February 8th, joined the mayor representing the city of Gahanna. We did hear from the Columbus Regional Airport Authority, Joe Nardoni, President and CEO, as well as Kristen Easterday, Director of Communications and Public Affairs. They previewed plans for the new terminal. There is a new website, cmhnext.com, that provides context, information, and more about the new terminal project. On Tuesday, February 27th, MORPC is inviting community planners, local government officials, school board officials, and school administrators for a special event on the benefits of planning together. I'm honored to be joined by Superintendent Dr. Deagle for that event. MORPC has been hosting and is hosting a series of regional planning luncheons. The next one is the northwest area of Central Ohio. That will be held at the Dublin Recreation Center on March 27th. MORPC, through these luncheons, are convening local governments to work collaboratively on short and long range community planning. The ideal participants include public officials, local government staff, and community partners with responsibilities for transportation, development, planning, and sustainability. And lastly, on February 28th, from 9:30 to 11 at MORPC, there's an event called Reimagining an Inclusive, Equitable Future. MORPC and the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, or COMTO, is hosting a panel discussion. COMTO is known as the voice of equity in transportation and serves as the national advocate for employment, diversity, inclusion, and contracting opportunities in the multimodal, multi-billion-dollar transportation industry. Guest speakers will discuss the impact of the transportation industry due to the growth in our region, overcoming barriers to ensure equitable access, representation while positioning minority leaders, and more. The event is free and open to the public, but it does require registration. So if you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to provide additional information. And that is it for my MORPC report, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Convention and Visitors Bureau, Councilwoman Padova.
Thank you. The Visit Gahanna 2024 annual meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 20th from 11:30 to 1. It will be held at the Gahanna Sanctuary. And the theme is Tourism Powers Economic Development. So you can get tickets at visitgahanna.com. Again, that is March 20th at 11:30 a.m. at the Gahanna Sanctuary. Also, Creekside Blues and Jazz Festival tickets are going to be going on sale March 1st. And early bird discount, you can get $5 off your tickets for the month of March. So purchase early and save $5. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padova. All right, finally, Councilwoman Jones, School Board Liaison.
Thank you. Wanted to extend congratulations to GLHS video production classes who were nominated for 7 National Student Production Awards and recently won 2 of those awards. One for their film and documentary called End the Distraction, and one for a public affairs video called The Beat Goes On. So again, kudos, shout out, and thank you to Mark Lowry and the students for their hard work and continued excellence in this area. Gahanna Gala is this Saturday. Tickets are sold out, but online auction has begun, and so anyone, whether you have tickets to the gala or not, can participate in the auction. There are over 300 items covering a variety of things, so the entire community can participate and support GJEF through that auction. Also, just a reminder or awareness that Public School Week is next week, February 26th through March 1st. This is an annual week-long celebration dedicated to honoring the contributions and achievements of educators and advocates of public schools. So a great opportunity to highlight our school system right here in Gahanna. And then last, there is a regular school board meeting this Thursday, February 22nd. Calendar cadence is a little different this month, so just wanted to remind folks of the regular school board meeting this week. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones. Next up on the agenda is official reports. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Once again, I would like to recognize the very special presentation that was held this evening. I appreciated Ms. Montgomery's comments about being proud to be in the city. It was an emotional evening for everyone. It's one that was a long time in coming. I very much appreciate Council's patience and support. I know when that incident first happened, it was our immediate reaction to want to recognize the officers for their actions, and they needed some time, and I appreciated everyone's cooperation, as well as the lovely recognition that they received tonight. So special thanks as well to our representative, as well as to Congresswoman Beatty for their support of our officers. I found a quote that said, "A hero is an ordinary person who faces extraordinary circumstances and acts with courage, honor, and self-sacrifice." And I think those three officers would say that wasn't them, but I think we all know better. So again, thank you for all of your collaboration on that this evening. Congratulations to the Gahanna Community Chorus and their director, Kate Cremeen. They had a beautiful concert this weekend. Community members were treated to not one, but two lovely evenings of fantastic music, and I'm always amazed when I go to listen to them, just the incredibly talented people, from our high school productions to the adults now in this chorus, and the things that this community produces are always amazing. So congratulations to them for what was really just a wonderful gift to the community. And then that was Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday, if you did not have a sugar overdose from the sweet music, you got it from the Creekside Chocolate Walk. We actually spent 5 hours there, even though it only lasted 3 at Creekside yesterday. I won't explain what we were doing the other 2 hours, but we just were enjoying Creekside and all of the activities. But congratulations to the Give to Gahanna folks for organizing that, as well as to all of the participating businesses that really made it very special. Actually ran into a participant on the walk who was not from Gahanna, who was just talking about how wonderful it was that our community had something like that in February, in the winter months, to do. And his community, which shall not be named, didn't do anything. They said they had plenty of things in the summer, but nothing in January and February. And he just thought that was amazing that we were having that event. So I think it continues to grow in popularity, and look forward to that next year. My sugar levels should be down by a year from now. Thank you for mentioning the Morpsey meeting on February 8th, Councilman. It was nice to sit next to you for your first official meeting. I am both excited and honored to share that at that meeting, I was elected to the Executive Committee of Morpsey. And it is a 2-year term, so I'm very much looking forward to working with other Central Ohio municipal leaders in the Morpsey's initiatives, especially as we are planning as a region on the growth that is happening and how we prepare for the future. So looking forward to that role. And I have to go through training. Looking forward, I'll have more to share on that next month. Just a reminder, the window is still open for residents to provide input on the active transportation plan. That survey is available online. It will be open through this Sunday evening, February 25th at 11:59 p.m. So if you have not yet taken a few minutes to fill out that survey, please do so. It is really an incredible opportunity for our residents to provide input on how they utilize transportation within the community, from sidewalks to multi-use trails to pedestrian crosswalks, everything. So as we can further be informed as we plan for capital improvements for the coming years with regard to all of those modes of transportation in our city. And finally, I will mention open houses for property owners who are in the 2024 Street and Sidewalk Program. We will hold those here at City Hall. We're going to offer 2 different times, Tuesday, March 12th at noon, and Thursday, March 14th at 6 p.m. So one during the day, one later in the evening. Our engineering team will be on hand that evening to really walk those homeowners through what they can expect to see with construction, what the program will look like, timelines would look like, and then answer any questions that residents have. So we have already sent out one communication to homeowners, property owners that are in the 2024 program areas. Another, I believe another written communication will be going out as well, and we're doing publication with that as well through social media. media and emails. But again, Tuesday, March 12th here at noon, and Thursday, March 14th at 6 p.m. That's all I have. Thank you. Yes?
Madam Mayor, is there any chance that we could receive copies of that correspondence that has gone out?
Sure, it was a mailed postcard.
Okay, perfect.
Sure, we
Just
can-
so that we have the information in case folks reach out.
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jadwin. Mr. Roth, do you have a report from the City Attorney's Office tonight?
No report. I would just like to say it is a privilege to work every day with the officers and administration of the Gahanna Division of Police. They are very good at what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. All right, we are down to council comment this evening. Let's start with Mrs. McGregor.
Thank you. It was just really a nice ceremony to honor our police officers. I know that, they just, you say they just happened to be, but I believe that God put them in the right place at the right time. They were on their way in the opposite direction and saw the accident and pulled over and helped. And that just is, like, rather than just going on, they just stopped and helped. And it was just really very timely that they were able to be there at the right time and be the first ones there to help people out. On another subject, I don't know, I know Mrs. Pickle Antonio knows, but Eastland Career Center in Fairfield, they have satellite classes over at Clark Hall. I know they have architecture, bioscience, and a class for teacher preparation. Is there another one? Okay, that's right, I forgot about that one. One of my granddaughters did the architecture program there for 2 years, which she thoroughly enjoyed. They actually had an architect for their instructor. This year, my granddaughter Isa, this is her second year in the bioscience program that Eastland offers there, and they had their capstone projects last week that they presented. And hers was on the possibility of detecting dyslexia in children with the use of an EEG. Because right now, I know when Abby she has 3 dyslexic. My daughter has 3 dyslexic children. And it's very expensive to find somebody who can diagnose them. And it costs a couple of $1,000s once you do find somebody to do that. And so this is really, this is an interesting idea of finding a way to discover if a child has dyslexia with an early diagnosis, which allows them to have services at an earlier age for the dyslexia. And so Isa did her presentation. She was very nervous about it, but it was very thorough. And all the students did an excellent job. There were quite a few of them, from things I didn't even understand, all kinds of chemicals and things they were working on. One was on something about dog food, keeping the bacteria out of dog food and stuff. And so it was some of them were very applicable, but Isa won first place, so we were very pleased with that, and she actually had a scholarship that went along with that. So for those that don't know, there's interesting programs that we have right in the community, and the students can still be part of the high school and take classes through the Eastland Career Center. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Mrs. Jones?
Yeah, just really quickly wanted to share, there are many, many reasons to be a proud Gahanna resident, but tonight was just another one of those moments. So, of course, thank you to the officers and everybody that made tonight possible and to make it feel just super special. It was not an ordinary resolution. It just felt like a really great community coming together. So thank you to all for that.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Padova?
Thank you. We have had a good month of resolutions and visitors and guests here that have really just brought me nearly to tears with just uplifting stories with our last meeting, and then of course tonight with Sergeant Sheesby, Sergeant Parrish, and Officer Pertz. I just want to thank them for their work every day, especially their efforts last fall. And I can't imagine doing the things that they did that day and experiencing that. And so just thank you. And thank you, Chief Spence, for always leading the way.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Councilmember Renner.
Yes, thank you. I first want to say thank you for, it sounds like a broken record a little bit, but my deep thanks and gratitude to Sergeant Shesby, Sergeant Paris, and Officer Pertz for their valor and being who they are. We in government, we're always looking for other people that know how to serve. And a lot of times we're in the workplace, we're dealing with people who it's just a job for them. And in government, in service life, it's not really just a job. And I think these three individuals really exemplify who they are and the call of service and the call of duty at the moment and the time that they're requested. And so, and they, you know, for the record, they weren't really requested. They happened to be there, but they recognized that they were needed and the call of duty came to them. So my deepest gratitude and thanks for all three of them. And also I want to thank the mayor and the director for professionally handling this and giving them those three individuals space and time to reflect and to be with their families and deal with the horrors that we can only imagine that they saw that day and they dealt with. So that's really admirable. Tonight we had a speaker. You guys have known me. I've been up here since 2012, and I have had a wide variety of tolerance of free speech. And many times have I defended my colleagues, especially those who I have ideological opposition to. But I will not stand at all for a speaker, for a resident to attack one of my colleagues without actually even evidence and to use the moment to only express Marxism and socialism and everything else that she apparently hates. It was a political moment. It was nothing about the service that we provide. And Councilwoman Jones, you are a duly elected member of our society. You have taken the oath of office, and you have so far rendered it admirably.
Thank you.
And you're a respectful citizen of our city. I apologize that that happened, and I dare that speaker to come into these halls again and to say such atrocities. She's going to hear from me. There are values that we have. You heard the chief talk about the values of integrity and respect. Those are things that we have for each other. Respect. And in an open society, we must have that respect, especially to our elected leaders. I'll get off my soapbox, but I was very hurt and mortified and offended by such statements that are now on our record, and I apologize. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Councilmember Schnetzer.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I'll, at risk of sounding a bit redundant, I just wanted to express gratitude to the entire Division of Police. Through the years, I think, you know, we up here have maybe become a bit accustomed, dare I say, spoiled at their level of excellence, whether it be the first on the scene of a motorcycle accident and literally saving a life, the first on the scene of a suicide and literally saving a life, and now in an extra-jurisdictional situation, being the first on the scene and going above and beyond the call of duty. It was great to see the news cameras in the background. Just, you know, that implies that that story, that excellence that we've become accustomed to is being shared across the Central Ohio region, so very proud for that. And I do want to say, Chief and Safety Director Becker, I think it speaks to your leadership that this division continues to receive award after award after award. So thank you to both of you for your leadership and for setting the tone culturally.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to add my thanks and my gratitude to Sergeant Shesby, Sergeant Paris, and Officer Pertz, and commend them for their heroic actions back in November. I'm grateful today and absolutely every day for all of our officers and what they do. They truly embody public service and community. And you hear that across Central Ohio whenever anyone is speaking about our division of police and its officers. And so my heartfelt gratitude to Sergeant Shesby, Sergeant Paris, and Officer Pertz, but also to our entire division, and Chief Spence and Director Becker. Thank you. I also think it's noteworthy that not only were we as a city recognizing 3 of our own, but also receiving recognitions from the state via Representative Burl Brown Pickle Antonio, but also the federal government via Congresswoman Beatty as well. So thank you. Lastly, I want to thank Mr. Renner for his comments during council comment. I'll just add that it takes a village. We are 7 independently elected members, each bringing our own skill sets and values that the voters saw fit to put us up here on the dais. And each day we do the work, and we do our best to represent all of the residents of our city, including those with whom we have fundamental disagreements with. And it is certainly possible to disagree without being disagreeable and while respecting one another. So that's it for me, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. All right, I have a few items tonight. First off, again, congratulations to our heroic officers and to all the officers who serve within the Gahanna Division of Police. Our communications officer department as well, and all first responders. Thank you for continuing daily to be an integral part of our community. And thank you, Chief Spence, for being at the helm and leading with a guardian mentality. That's something that's I very much value about our division of police, and am extraordinarily proud of our community for centering that. Thank you to Representative Brown Pickle Antonio for being here with us tonight and presenting commendations to the officers as well, and to Congresswoman Beatty and her office for also providing congressional proclamations. On short notice, a little bit short notice, everyone came together and really recognized the importance of this moment, and so thank you for allowing us again to be part of this moment. I want to take a moment also to reflect on comments that were made tonight by one of the members of the public. This is a member of the public that does on occasion come and speak before council, and she has every right to do so. And usually I remain silent as to her remarks because I think that giving too much attention to them can also be detrimental. However, I am extraordinarily proud of Councilwoman Jamil Jones, her executive skill set, her depth of knowledge and her kindness, as well as being intimately familiar with the school district to which I have appointed her liaison, makes her an admirable candidate, an admirable appointee to that role, and I am proud to serve on council with her. I'd like to thank her specifically, along with Councilwoman Padova's comments tonight, for coordinating last month's resolution to recognize Dr. Thomas, Mrs. Amerson, Mrs. Whitfield, and the African-American literature students that attended and frankly brought all of us to tears at the last meeting. But for Councilwoman Jones's relationships within that department, we would not have had that distinct honor to recognize them and to be part of that event 2 weeks ago. So I am extraordinarily proud, again, of my colleague and am grateful for her service. Also, on that note, I would like to issue congratulations to our Clerk of Council, Jeremy Van Meter, who recently was elected to join the Executive Committee of the Ohio Municipal Clerks Association. Jeremy has exemplified professionalism, and I am grateful for his continued professional development and service on that board. On that note, Sophia McGuire, who is our records analyst currently, received word this week on acceptance of a proposed session presentation at a national annual conference on records keeping in Atlanta. The session is titled Records Management Resurgence, Using Outreach Education and Cross-Departmental Relationships to Revive or Jumpstart a Records Program. She will present along with records managers from Dartmouth Libraries, Livingston County, New York, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Again, congratulations and much thank you to Sophia for her ongoing professional development and extraordinary professionalism in this national recognition. All right. I've attached to the agenda my constituent report for January, first constituent report of this new term. I have included in there that Councilmember Weaver and I will host a constituent hour this Thursday at 5 p.m. at the Gahanna Library. We will be focusing that discussion on the proposed zoning code and ongoing land use in Gahanna. So we look forward to welcoming residents either there, or if you're not able to make that, certainly reach out to either of us. We're certainly glad to speak with our community. Finally, before we adjourn, I've requested an executive session with council members regarding council office staffing changes and consideration of salary updates. A motion, so I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session under authority of section 5.40A of council rules of procedure to consider the appointment, employment, promotion, or compensation of public officials or employees. And I will also note that we do not anticipate any legislation or action coming out of tonight's executive session, and we would adjourn promptly thereafter. Is there a first to go into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. A second? Second. Second by Ms. Jones. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Weaver?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Schnetzer?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Padova?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. And as I mentioned, we will not be taking any action following executive session this evening. Thank you all for being here tonight.